This airport remained shuttered for 5.5 months. No aircraft were allowed to fly in or fly out. No reasons were given. We were never given an explanation other than our airport was closed. Approximately halfway through that process, the FAA did allow what they called a flush out, where in one evening they allowed all the aircraft to take off basically in formation to leave the airport. And so all of our trapped transients and about half of our tenants elected to leave the airport with the aircraft and move geographically further out. The airport remained closed here for about 5.5 months until the Washington Post finally ran a sympathetic article about the plight of College Park Airport. And lo and behold, the Deputy Secretary of the Transportation finally did call us, and after a few more weeks we were able to arrive at a program where we could semi-reopen to tenants only. And so this airport remained a tenant-only airport after the pilots went through a rather extensive vetting process.
Aero-TV is brought to you by Cirrus aircraft have always been easy to fly. Now they're easier than ever to buy. A complete line of ownership programs gives you everything you need to purchase, trade, finance, lease, insure, and warranty your Cirrus. There's even an ownership program for non-pilots. The Cirrus Access Pilot can teach you how to fly or fly the plane for you. Find out more at www.cirrusdesign.com. Cirrus, for the love of flying. Now, back to Aero-TV.
The newly created TSA, still trying to find out what their actual mission was, had decided that all pilots at College Park Airport must go through a rather extensive background check before they could be trusted to fly in the Washington airspace. And that required going through a fingerprinting process with the Secret Service. It required going through a substantial background check with the FBI, going through a flight check history with the FAA, attending a briefing, attesting to that briefing, and then receiving a discrete PIN number, which you exchange with flight service every time that you filed a flight plan to come and go from College Park Airport. Some pilots just went along with the program because they figured that was the price you pay to fly at College Park Airport. Others chose to vote with their feet, move their aircraft to further outlying surrounding airports. And so the economic carnage at College Park Airport started after that. On 9/11, we had an aircraft population of about 100 tenant-based airplanes. But more importantly, we were looking at probably another 100 transient aircraft that were coming and going here routinely, because College Park Airport is the closest airport to Washington, D.C. We're a 3-minute walk from the subway, and it's just the ideal place for GA to come to Washington. Those aircraft were not allowed to use the airport. So essentially, my customer base went from 450,000 general aviation pilots down to the 35 pilots that remained at College Park Airport.
Aero-TV is brought to you by
Today, there is an affordable, high-performance, easy-to-own and easy-to-operate very light jet designed with you in mind. Far less expensive than any other twin-engine jet to buy, it is also the least expensive to own and operate. It is the Eclipse 500, the jet that's easy to buy, easy to fly, and fun to own. The jet for you.
Now, back to Aero-TV.
In the initial days shortly after 9/11, we were certainly wanting to cooperate 100% with our federal security resources. We felt that we had a responsibility to make sure that College Park Airport was not going to be a terrorist problem for them. As time went on and the newly created TSA came into existence, we began to get a little bit frustrated with the government's response to the 9/11 crisis as it pertained to College Park Airport. Park Police, they make hourly checks still, 7 years later. It was difficult, if not impossible, to find someone within the bowels of our federal government who would talk to us about what our requirements were and what our needs were going to be. It was frustrating to listen to TSA give out press releases talking about local airport operators and the state and the federal security resources being partners and working together. It's now 7 years. I have never been partnered with any meeting or initiative with the federal government as to the operating rules at this airport. So it was a pretty cavalier, from the top down, arbitrary decisions made at the federal government. And that's been our problem all along, is that we have yet, 7 years later, been unable to find a face, a person, a title that we could talk to discuss the problems that we're having here at College Park Airport. Today, we went from a low water mark of about 22 based airplanes shortly after 9/11 to, we're back to about 50 aircraft now. So we've recovered some as far as our tenant-based population. More importantly, though, we're concerned about the proficiency of some of those pilots. We're concerned about their ability to fly. There are a lot of arbitrary procedures. An example that comes to mind right now is closed pattern operations. 4 years ago, we explained to the TSA and other federal security resources that pilots really need to remain proficient at this airport because it is different, it has short approaches, and it's unique in its flying environment. And so we asked for permission for vetted, approved, background check pilots to perform closed pattern operations here, repeated takeoffs and landings. We were told that that was a threat to national security and would not be allowed. About a year later, we asked the same question, and the answer from TSA was, well, air traffic control says that's too much congestion. So we talked to air traffic control, and they say it doesn't matter to us one hill of beans how many airplanes remain in the pattern. We go back to TSA, and we say, this can be accomplished. You have people that have been checked. You know what their background is. They ought to be allowed to remain proficient. The TSA comes up with the standard answer, we will look into it, and we are now going on the 3rd year of waiting for an answer from the TSA. And that's just one of the problems. The other one involves the vetting procedure itself.